Greetings, friends and fellow cigar box guitar enthusiasts. Del Puckett here, and if you're a cigar box guitar aficionado, then certainly you've seen these boxes. These are the Roi Tan boxes. These are, I hate to say it, folks, but these are a dime a dozen. I mean, you see these things all over the place. You go into any thrift store, anywhere, and you're going to see a stack of these, and typically they're going to be way overpriced, like $9, $10, $15. You're just like, oh, like pick it up and you go like, cardboard. Even though, dude, I mean, it's an awesome box. You gotta say the artwork, you know, I mean, just the aesthetic. This is such a traditional box. I mean, seriously, you see this everywhere. Every once in a while you see one of these guys, which is the not so nice box. But this box here has become iconic. You see it everywhere, or at least I do, and I don't even look for them. So anyhow, the other day I was going through all my boxes, my antique boxes, just kind of reminding myself of what I did have and not finding what I was looking for. But anyhow, so I stumbled upon one of these Roi Tans that had just been smashed, like somebody like stepped on it or something. And I was like, dang it. So what do I do with this thing? So it's like, well, if I don't do anything with it now, I'll never do anything with it. So real quick, I just assembled some blocks and started bracing this thing up. And so sure enough, got the bracing in there. I got some bracing along the inside, just because like I said, every piece was separated. Got the clamps, glued it up, and then figured out, what the heck, I'll go ahead and dark stain it. Then I got to thinking, you know what? The inside of the box, the inside of the box is a lot nicer. So why don't make the inside be the cover? So I was like, oh, like, yeah, bada boom. So I went ahead and knocked up a neck, dark stained it, got a Home Depot ruler, dark stained it. So I think I'm going to make this be another lefty. And the reason being is because when I glued up the neck was upside down. So I'm like, well, I'll just make a lefty. So this is the way it's going to look. So this box will be redeemed. And this will be another 20-inch scale neck. So it will be another kind of a, what do you call that? A tenor ukulele. But built with this antique, this recycled, upcycled, this reclaimed, this rescued, that's the word, rescued Roi Tan box. So for the rest of this video, I'm going to try something a little different. In that, what I'm going to do is just real time, no edits, no copy, cut, and paste. I'm just going to assemble the rest of this build in real time. So it's going to be, kind of like you're hanging out with me in the workshop, and you're going to realize how boring it is. Be like, dude, you need to get a life. All right, so right off the bat, I'm going to screw the back in. Now I already cut the holes in here, and I cut the holes in here, and I made sure everything was nice and straight, and I also squared it up in my square. You guys have heard me preach this over and over and over again. I'm preaching to the choir. So now I'm just going to put everything together, and then we're going to tune it up, string it up, tear it up. Got these little back washers. What are these called? Finishing washers. Finishing washers. Why? Because we're finishing. Oh, it's golden hour outside, guys. There is a little bit of wind going on. I don't know if you'll be able to see or not, but it's pretty outside. And I also have a fire keeping me warm. So I told you it was going to be boring. All right, so next are going to be the tuners. I should probably heat up the glue gun. I am also heating up the soldering iron because we're going to solder up the pickup. Oh, and I'm going to put these strings on upside down for a right-handed, but right side up for a left-handed. But I am going to put position markers on both the top and the bottom so that if you want to play it right hand, you can still look down. Now this one here, the strings are going to be upside down, but that's actually cool, man. When you play the strings right-handed upside, but they're upside down, they're tuned the same, but they're just upside down. The thick string on the bottom, the skinny string on the top. Dude, your mind is like, yeah, it plays tricks with your mind, but the sounds that come out are so cool, so amazing. You would never, ever, ever come up with a lick like that unless you put the strings on upside down. So we're going to use that little strategic to our advantage. Okay, so now we're going to clean up, get all this junk out of here. Roi Tan boxes. Oh yeah, here's another one. All right, so I got five more of these Roi Tans in my collection. Okay. Yep, everything's good. I'm gonna just double check here, guys. Just double check. We're good there. They're nice and square. Cha-ching. And I also double check with my centering jig. Make sure that we're nice and centered. So we are. So I can rest assured, rest with confidence. Some people build their guitars left style. Some build them right style. For me, I like this way for some reason. It's the way I build. I'll keep these screws handy. Okay, so I need to go fast here. Okay, so we're gonna do tuners next. And remember, the tuner gear goes on the downside, right? The gear here, the round part, faces down. Always remember that. That's just a rule of thumb. Okay, there you have it. 2 lefts and 1 right. 2 lefts don't make it right. Okay, so you can't see that. Let me move the camera so you can see. The Shinto. Okay, we're done with this thing. Put this one away. Put the square away. Spend more time cleaning up stain rags, steel wool. Trying to make it pretty for you all. Okay, now I need to get a tiny little drill bit for the screws, for the itty bitty screws. And I have a little jar that I keep all my itty bitty screws in. Oh, and I also have this little golf ball with a hook in it that I just put on top of the jar, so that whenever I want to get the screws out, I could just, see, isn't that neat? It's a perfect size. Sometimes I put just a piece of paper, and that's just a lazy way of cleaning up what's underneath it, because there's just, I need to vacuum this. The other rule of thumb for me is to look smart. Just kidding. I got to see what I'm doing. Okay, so here we go. We're going to screw in now this one here, I'm not going to put any bushings on. You can see on this side here. And you say, why aren't you putting on the bushings? The short answer is because I'm lazy. What's the long answer? I'm lazy. All right, so I'm propping up the neck here just because if I push it all down, then you can see that. I don't know if you can see if it pops up. So the tuner actually pushes the thing up so it's not touching the head or touching the wood here. So here we go. Now, I've wanted to tell you guys this for a long time, and I just haven't got around to it. But what I do here typically is do only one screw at a time, drilling wise. And the reason being is because how many times have you drilled and then you drill the other one, but then when you screw it in, the other hole is off alignment? Yeah, that's happened to me all the time. So I do one, and you can do one on all of them, right? But I mean, just do one per tuner. Now with this you don't want to go too deep. You want to go, you do not want to go as deep as the screw is. You want to have a little bit of meat for that screw to get into. But the reason why I only do one at a time, like I said, is that because this one here is going to hold the tuner in place. Right, the tuner's going to be, it's not going to wiggle, so that when I screw the next one in, that hole's going to be good. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but my dog is at the door and he wants to come in. He has that annoying bark like, let me in, now. Or I'm going to keep barking and just keep annoying you. So I'm going to let the dog in real quick. What? The dog that was barking didn't come in, but the other dog that wasn't barking did come in. So that dog that's going to, Mojo, he's going to want to come in. So you'll hear him bark here in just a little bit. He was doing the ding dong ditch. See here? And that's the cat. The cat jumped up on the box, but the box wasn't secured. It was my empty box of cigar boxes. The cat fell in the box. Dumb cat. Okay, so now, I have each one of these guys has just got one screw in it. So now I go back and do the second screw. Again, now that there's no wiggle in it, I'll tighten it down just a little bit better. Does Mojo want to come inside? It's like, I know there's fun going on in there. Okay, so now where do you want it? Now when I get a little close to the end here, close to the edge, I just angle it kind of in toward the wood. That makes sense, doesn't it? That's called common sense. Thank you for that common sense. Another word of advice is don't over tighten these things for a number of reasons. All right, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you right here, right now. These tuners that I'm using, they are the cheapest tuners you can find anywhere. I'm almost embarrassed to use these things because of the failure rate is higher than what it should be. Okay. So, hey, you get what you pay for, right? And I know that these are the low budget tuners, but they work good if you do one thing. All right, guys, pay attention here. This is important information here. If you look straight up and down here, straight up and down, you'll see that it's straight up and down. Now, if this piece of metal bends that way, then that's going to open up this little gear here. And if it opens up, then you're going to be able to spin this guy, and it's not going to spin this guy. So having this metal here, this little piece of metal straight, I'll put it with the white background back there. This piece of metal, if it's exactly straight, then you're good to go. Okay, well, the problem is the topography of your neck. Sometimes it's not exactly straight. So if you tighten this one down, and then you tighten this one down, and you get like a little curve, well, what happens is this gear becomes separated. Yeah, and that's where it fails. I've seen it, dude, I cannot tell you how many times I've seen that failure. So, okay, the workaround is to just make sure that it's perfectly straight on the back plane of your tuning peg. Okay, you think that that's easy, okay, but it's so easy for it not to get, okay, so if the hole is not perfectly straight and the hole is at a little bit of an angle, well, then you're going to tighten this guy down, and it's going to open up the separation. So in the event that you're not perfectly straight up and down with this thing here, and it's at a little bit of an angle, just a slight angle, and then this guy is not exactly straight, perfectly level, don't over tighten this guy because it's just going to open up your gear connection. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, then you're going to tighten it down and you're going to have the gears come apart. Okay. That's my rant. Done ranting on that. Guys, I'm just trying to save you the hassle, dude, because it's kind of embarrassing when, especially when the customer writes back and says, dude, the tuners have failed. You're like, yep. I know. Send them 2 tuners, because we all know how much you paid for these things. They're cheap. Okay, and I always look at it. I always come up here and look at it and make sure that I'm not bending that thing. Okay, I'm going to let Mojo in. All right, Mojo, come on. Come on. Mojo. All right, forget it. So he goes outside. He barks to come in, then I open up the door and he's nowhere to be found. Then the other dog that was inside goes outside. So you're like, okay, you guys are on your own then. Never mind. I'm done trying to help you out. Okay, screw in the top. For the hook. Now, where are my hooks at? Here they are. Now, what I like to do is, I am a man of contrast. So if I have a small box, I'll get a big hook. If I have a big box, I get a small hook. If I have an old box, I'll get a new hook. If I have a new box, I'll get an old hook. Oh yeah, so I'm still gonna put in the eyelets here and then the screw across there. But that's the headstock's looking like. I think it's gonna look nice. Oh, I did use some of this spar urethane. Last night I gave this neck a nice thick coat, and then just hit it with some steel wool to make it nice and smooth. So yeah, so the finish on this neck feels so smooth. That's what I like. Okay, so I said I was going to heat up the glue gun. Where am I hiding my glue gun? Here it is. Almost had a disaster there. All right, so this will take a little bit to heat up, right? And that's why I have this little piece of, it's stuck to it now, just to keep the, I need to get another one, just to keep the glue from getting on, making a mess. Okay, glue gun's coming on. Oh yeah, we're gonna pick a card. We'll pick this one. 7 of Hearts. So the 7 of Hearts will be for the piezo. Did you hear that sound? That was a gas can that I have that expands and contracts in the cold, and it makes that sound every once in a while. There you go. 7 of Hearts. So that'll be for the piezo. My soldering iron is heating up. Flux. Wire. I need some wire. Okay, we're going fast, guys. We're going fast, okay? Again, I'm just going from the piezo to the jack, which is about, excuse me, about 4 inches. And this is the wrong tool for the job here, guys. This is what I need right here. Okay, I know might be slow for you guys, but I'm actually working pretty fast. Oh, too much on that one. Q-tip, flux, just a little dab. Little dab on the tab. I don't have my reading glasses on, and so I dabbed that thing. Duh. Rookie mistake. Rookie mistake. Solder. This is real thin solder. It's old stuff. I've had this for years. I don't even know where I got it. I think it was a hand-me-down. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tin. Is that the right terminology? Where you just put solder on everything that you're going to solder, just the wires of everything. And kind of one of the tricks I do is I just set my solder down, kind of pull it out a little bit. I got my glue gun, or my soldering iron, dab it in there, and then just touch. It's what you do when you don't have an extra hand, right? You just you improvise. See, a dog is still barking out there. He wants to come in. I gave him two tries already to come in, and he failed. Okay, so now I could solder that. I'm going to go ahead and just tin it for now. And here's the piezo. Again, I get all my parts at cbgitty.com. Use the video description link for the affiliate. Use the promo code DELPuckett or PuckettCBG for 10% off. Okay, so here, whenever I'm soldering to the piezo, I'm just going to put a dot of solder on the back of that thing. So, and this is real quick, guys. You do not want to waste time doing this. You just want to put a bunch of solder on your tip there and just touch it. Just a matter of fact, just bing, bong. That's it. Okay, no messing around. You're not spending time. You're just touching it. And this has got to be hot. And so here's the wire. Remember, the black is the outside. That's a very, very, very important thing. You do not want to get these reversed. So the black to the outside and the red to the inside. It's just automatic. Okay, you see how quick that was, man? That's no messing around. No messing around. Now, this is an oversized hole, definitely. Oversized hole. So I'm going to be wasting a lot of hot glue. I don't have to, but... and then I put this little edge here, this little trough, this little notch, so the wires can come out and still be flat with the underside of the box. It's pure science, man, pure science. All right, do you think the hot glue gun is hot enough to melt yet? I don't think so. Let's try third time with Mojo here. Come on, Mojo. Come on. Come here, Mojo. Want to say hi? Come here. Say hi. Hey, Mojo. Here's the little guy. He wants to say hi, too. That's Monet. Monet is like an alpha dog trapped in a little tiny little body. It's like so funny to see him fight for his right. Yeah, he's super aggressive around the food bowl. My gosh. Okay, go on. Okay, I'm going to put you back outside. Get out of my face. Okay, the glue gun is still not hot enough. Still not hot enough. I can go ahead and redeem the time because I don't want to waste your all's time. I'll go ahead and solder this guy here. What did I do with the solder? Here it is. Okay. Cat's playing around in the cigar box. You hear the bone being chewed. Okay, it doesn't get any simpler than that, guys. Does not get any simpler than that. So now we're just gonna hot glue this guy. String on, hinge, saddle, strings. Hang in there, guys, hang in there. Okay, it's starting to come out. Starting to come out. Yep. Okay, so I'm just going to put enough hot glue just to hold it in place. And then I'm going to hold it in place with this screwdriver. And again, right here, you just want to make sure it's centered. Centered and leveled. Centered and leveled. It actually works pretty good if you don't use a whole lot of hot glue. Dries quicker, that's for sure. Okay, this one here, I need my card. Here's the card. That was upside down, looked like a football. Okay, so now time is of the essence, right? We don't mess around here. So hot glue. And again, just enough. I don't have to worry about filling in that whole cavity. 7 of hearts. Right side up. And then we're going to push down like we would be under normal circumstances. And you do this so that you have positive contact with the piezo directly under the saddle. That's been my experience to be the best musical sound for those piezos. Man, a lot of times those piezos are just out of control. If you don't have anything covering your piezo and anything touches it, seriously, it could be a human hair. Touches that thing, it's just gonna, I mean, they're so sensitive, man. So almost to the point of sometimes the sound is obnoxious, irredeemable, annoying, especially that high pitch feedback that those things get. Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, look at that. Beauty, eh? All right, what's next? Next would be screwing down the top. Now, I was going to do some deco corners and stuff like that, but then I drilled these guys in and I forgot. Okay, so now I'm committed to this. So again, I could use some finishing washers, I suppose. You don't have to do finishing washers. I don't have to do finishing washers. I'm just opting to. I'm going to use the big finishing washers for this guy. The biggest ones I got in this box here. So where's that little screwdriver at? Did you guys see what I did with that screwdriver? Here it is. And I already pre-drilled these guys to be the right depth. So I don't have to embarrass myself in front of the camera. Now I don't overkill these guys necessarily with this guy, because sometimes I get a little too aggressive and crack that mounting block on the inside. All right, this is the same size, but it's a newer one. I want the old one. There's an old one. That one's an old one, but it's smaller. Okay, come on. Come on. Here's one. You know that dog, he's getting after it, huh? Oh, you can see him back here. Chewing up that bone. One more. One more. No more screws. All right, hang on one second. I got more screws right over here. I don't see any laying around here. Nope. All right, hang on one second. Got another handful of these guys. These are just sheetrock screws. They're over an inch, like an inch and an eighth or something maybe. But they are great for these corners. Oh, there's one. One more. Yay, I found it. All right, cool. So all these corners are going to match as far as the washers go. Oh yeah. Check that out. Dude, this is going to be awesome. And dude, okay. These are just little tiny little screen mesh things here, and I just put those in, and I glued them in, so they are actually glued in place. But I really don't think they're going to offer much of a sound. They're just going to make sure that this box breathes. Okay, so next is going to be the hinge, and let's see here. I have 2 buckets full of hinges. And I also have like the corners I was telling you about. I was thinking maybe do some corners on here, but yeah, that actually would look nice, huh? Check that out. A rusty old hinge, or well, I keep calling it a hinge, corner. Rusty old corner. You know what? I could actually probably do that, because it looks like that hole is going to line up with this hole. I might have to do that. Okay, but we're doing it. We're doing hinges right now. Oh yeah, look at that nice, nasty old rusty hinge. Dude, I should probably use something like that. The reason being is because I know that this doesn't have continuity from one side to the other. If I got the ohm meter out and I ohm this side to this side, there's so much rust in there that the ohms would stop right there at that hinge. And of course, I could go back and clean it and all that stuff, but that's just, again, that's extra work. Whereas on these piezo-only systems, you don't necessarily need to ground your strings or ground your hinges. That's blasphemy. Well, if you think about it, that was one of the questions I had when I was a newbie builder. Hey, do you need to ground your strings with you're using a piezo system? And the answer is you don't need to. If you do, it's certainly not going to hurt. But as far as like the benefit of eliminating, you know, static and hum and interference and all that stuff, that's not going to work. And the reason being is because the way the piezo works, the piezo is like a crystal. And any kind of vibration in the crystal is going to be converted into electric current, which is going to go to the amplifier. So I need to touch the phone here real quick because the battery's dying. All right, guys, what that means is that I probably need to wrap up this video because my battery is dying. So I have some hinges. So what I'll do then is I will just pause this here, or I'll pause you. I'll do this, put the hinge on, string it up, and then we'll, oh, I got a little spider in here. Hey, you guys want to see my little friend? Come on, little dude. Ah. All right. I know he wants to come out and play. Come on. Nope. All right. He buried himself even deeper. I got some different kind of hinges. You definitely don't want to put a really nice, pretty hinge on there. All right, guys. I will find a hinge, install the hinge, do the saddle, string it up, and then in the next video clip, we will be. So I have a whole bunch of saddles just already pre-cut, different heights, sizes, and shapes. It's nice to have these on hand. You just grab, which whenever you think is going to be the right height, and then measure and pick the one that you want. So typically I put a little fret slot and a fret in there, and of course dress the edges, make it nice and smooth, and it gives you a nice sharp hard surface, which is great. I mean, that's awesome. But I'm opting for just a wooden saddle on this particular build, and the reason being is because I remember one time, this is about 20 years ago, I was in the recording studio and this guy pulls out this 1930s 1940s old Martin, just dead strings and everything, and it had a saddle on it that was just kind of a handmade, homemade wooden saddle, just like that. Man, I strummed that guitar, and dude, it was the best sounding Martin guitar I've ever played in my life. And I was just like, wow. And the grooves on it were really deep. I mean, it was just a wooden saddle with deep grooves, and I'm telling you what. So I figured, what the heck? I think I can go ahead and at least try that, see how it works. Good thing for you, I paused the video because I've been just obsessing, nitpicking over these saddles. So the first one I built was too short. I was getting buzz. The second one I built also had just a tiny bit of buzz up here. So I was like, But anyhow, so kind of gives me just a little bit of a deadened sound because it's just wood here, which I think I could get used to it. It actually is probably going to be a cool sound, but I think I'm going to save this wooden saddle for a solid wood top and not a cardboard top. But since this is a cardboard top, I think I'm going to go with the fret. So there's the fret. Now I haven't cut any grooves in here. I'm going to have to put some grooves in here because this is kind of a narrow spacing. And typically I like probably about a 1/2 inch between the strings. So I'm going to put notches in here. Let's see here. Let's tune this bad boy up. Middle string sounds like. So when you tune this one here, this one goes down because you're increasing the tension, which is causing the neck to bow a little bit, cause the other string to go down. Plus the string stretches. Okay, so now we're going to start setting our intonation. But the sound, to me, actually is better on the cardboard top with the metal. Gives it a little bit of crispness. Whereas this one here, I think it's going to deaden it just a little bit, which is going to be cool. But I think in the context of a wooden top, not a cardboard top. All right, it's not perfect, but it's pretty close. So we are tuned E, B, E. And again, we are upside down because this is created for a lefty. So the bass string is in the bottom, middle string, high string, which means the tilt is backwards. But I went ahead and put markers on this side here, right? So that they're gold screws. They're kind of camouflaged a little bit. They're definitely smooth, so you won't feel it over here. I'm still gonna put some position markers here, but I just wanted to play, kind of get a feel, and that lets you get a feel for the sound of these things when the strings are upside down. So I'm gonna play some of my regular melodies. Okay, play tricks with your mind. All right, how about some upside down Amazing Grace? Okay, yeah, so it's a mental trip. How about Spirit Radio? Begin the day with a friendly voice, a companion on all to say. Plays that song that's so elusive, on commanding music makes your morning new. I like it, look. Wow. Definitely takes some mental getting used to. Well, there's the Roi Tan, the lefty Roi Tan. We're not done. I still need to maybe just raise this guy just a hair, just because I got a tiny bit of buzz right here on this fret. Hear it? It's so small. I'm nitpicking, but maybe I just need to bang that fret in just a little bit more. or just turn up the distortion. So I opted for this hinge, and I left this screw out just a little bit so that I could put a string around it. I did use partial nails for the string through there. Not full nails, but just partial, just enough to catch the little ball end so it could fit through. So that's it, guys. I keep showing it to you backwards. So these cardboard boxes, they can be redeemed. Yes, they can. All right, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Cheers. And I'll leave you with a little lesson. I do a little roundy with a pick here, and then like... and you can get real sloppy. All right, have fun with that.